right after I talked to the moon about Raji. Raji's going to be the one watching this video, and Raji, we wish you were here. We're excited to have you as part of the team. We'll make sure we have you on the next call. So I just shared a little bit of intro to my vision for the division, and we're just doing some check-ins with everybody to see how everybody's doing, settling into their roles. And then the other individual I wanted to mention is an assistant to me and also a support, working closely with Amy as the club growth director. His name is Luke McDonald, and he is the current president, I can't remember which club, in Kingston. I don't know, Tarek, do you know him? I think he would have visited your club maybe. I think he said he's visited you guys a couple
times. Is it Brian McDonald or Luke McDonald?
Luke McDonald.
Okay,
yeah.
Luke. Yeah, probably
guy.
if I see him, I'll know him for sure.
Yeah. So with him,
but is interesting because I know the 4 clubs: Brian, Piggy, and myself, and what's his name, Rigolio, who was the area 2 director. So he's probably Limestone. Then he's in Limestone Club. That's the only club that I would think of.
Cataraqui. Anyway.
Yeah. It's Cataraqui is Brian McDonald.
I think he's part of Cataraqui. I think that.
Okay, so he's not the president. Then he's probably one of the team members.
Okay.
Because Brian McDonald is the coming president of the club.
Okay.
Yeah.
He might be the current president though.
He might be the current president.
I think he is. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he is. So he was another candidate for the area director role in Kingston. And Kingston, it's you have an area that's by itself, and Claudio tried to manage traveling to area 2 last year, and it was challenging, right? To have to go 2 hours just for a club visit. And then Luke and I had a future conversation, and he's a project manager, and we found a way to include him to help support all of the clubs in our division with membership building activities, and not really sure exactly what that's going to look like right now, but we're excited to have him as part of the team because a big part of empowering leaders is delegating, and I'm all about delegating and help bringing more people together to work towards common goals. So that's, I guess, my intro. So who wants to go next?
I can go if you want me to.
Tarek.
So yeah, my name is Tarek Hussein. I am the incoming Area 1 director, and also the incoming Downtown Kingston Toastmasters Club president. I've been the VP membership, and we have a special rule or a unique position in our club called VP mentorship as well. I don't think any club has it, or not too many. So I joined the executive team. I joined Toastmasters generally in February 2018. So it's 2 years and some months right now. So a few months after I joined, almost January 2019, I was asked to step in as the mentorship, VP mentorship. But then a month later, the VP membership also had some commitments and he left. So I took the 2 roles and I tried to work them together. And I've been doing that until today. So I'm going to step up a big step by being both the president of the club and the Area 1 director. Area 1 is very rich. We have 6 clubs, 5 in Kingston and 1 in Watertown, which is in the US. We have 3, as far as I can see right now, in the what do you call it? The dashboard. We have 3 president distinguished clubs in the area. Downtown Kingston is one of them, has been always president distinguished since day 1. So for almost 10 years, it's been always. But this year, Cataraqui and St. Lawrence did a great job, and both of them became president distinguished. Queens, which is the 4th club, is distinguished as well. It's the what do you call it? S, which is what? The select. Not select, yeah. Select. So it's a new club, been there for a year, but from the first year, that has been the case. So just before going further with Toastmaster, I am a pharmacist by profession. So I'm a licensed pharmacist in Ontario. Been a pharmacist for more than 25 years. I also hold a Bachelor of Business Administration. So did several businesses in the past 15 years. So I call myself pharmapreneur. if that's the right word.
Love it.
So any support you need when it comes to ideas and business, kind of like small business kind of mindset, I'll be there. So since we started to talk, Steph, like I did a lot of things, so I'd like to share. So back to Toastmasters. We have, as you can see, we have a very strong club in downtown Kingston, Toastmasters, and I'm relying on those guys to be able to do both roles. And we actually have a stable kind of executive team. So half of the team is almost stayed. So the same secretary, the same treasurer, the same surgeon at arms, and the same PR, VP PR. Mm-hmm. The person we have two surgeons at arms because it's a very big role in our club.
You have 7 like 55 members or something?
No, we have around 35, 36, goes down to 26, but goes up depending on the season. We had around 5-6 students from Queens. They left. They finished school. That's why they didn't renew for the end of April. So one of the two surgeons at arms, I VP membership. So she was already a team member. We have a brand new VP Ed, very, very competent. But the good thing is Ben, I don't know if you know him, Ben Anderson is the current president. He's also was the VP Ed for 2 years before becoming the president. And then this year, the VP Ed had an accident like 4 or 5 months ago. So he took over the VP Ed again. Wow. So he's a very well experienced VP Ed. So, and he's sitting as a past president. So he will be a coach for the VP Ed. So it will really be a good kind of
continuity
thing. And talking about Ben, I'm doing exactly like you, Steph, like learning from leadership. So I asked him to sit as the assistant area director for Ben Anderson, for the educational, like for the educational activities. Like it's called, not the club growth, the other one, which is basically, there are two, you can have two. One is club growth and one is the
program quality.
Program quality, yeah. So he's the program quality. And the reason for that is he brought up a point which is really important 2 months ago when we were in the executive meetings, is this end of this month, the old education system is gone.
Yes.
And then we have the pathways. So we need to do really, this year is a very transformational year for the area in a way that we need to push the education, especially push people to motivate them to go into the pathways. And him being a VP Ed for 3 years and the president this year, definitely he'll be an excellent candidate to work on something like the accelerators that is coming very soon in 28th of June and other things. So, so that is something that I think it's going to be, he's going to be an excellent asset. In the coming few days, I'll look into what kind of like the area council and reach. I reached to 5 of the 6 clubs. So my club and 4 others, the Kingston clubs, I managed to reach all of them.
Which is the one that you're having trouble reaching? Is it Limestone?
No, the one that I already reached Limestone. I contacted them. Limestone, see, I don't want to board everybody with each club, but Limestone is by their definition, they call it the old boys club.
Yes.
So they like to sit down, talk, get in there, enjoy, and they do everything. Like they do everything. They do a good meeting. They do everything, but they don't, for example, record a lot of things on the website. They don't do. So I'm trying this year to motivate them to, because they have the stuff, but they don't record it. So I want to make sure that they do that. The one that is going to be a challenge for me is the Watertown Club. The Watertown Club has 3 members only. And as far as I understand, it's probably going to be suspended the minute we entered officially into the July 1st. Okay, because with the current situation, which is a challenging situation because you need to have the same number. Yeah. The problem they have there is they had the Fort Drum base almost in the same area. The Fort Drum base has been moved. They moved it. And that's the reason why the club died, because it was basically depending on the base in the US, and it just died out. So what can we do? I don't know. We'll try to reach out.
I've noted it for now because it's you know, there's always a story behind why, right?
Yeah, I think I know it.
Control. but
Yeah,
maybe
I think I know it.
create a new club somewhere else.
Well, and that is something. It's my mandate. I want to talk to you about it. I don't know if you guys want to also hear, because I have a club in the horizon coming.
Got it.
So
got it. Yes, and yes. Let's just for time's sake, let's hear from everybody for this part. But
that's it for me.
I want to hear ideas. I want to hear creative thoughts and plans. And yes, and we can always have another call. So it's I just wanted to get the ball rolling. So who would like to go next? Karen?
Unmute. Okay. Hi, everyone. So I actually have been with Toastmaster, I guess, since 2017. I believe it was October that I joined. I have been at Barrhaven Toastmasters for the whole time. And I guess shortly after I joined, I took on the role of VP PR. And I did that role for the following year. And then last year, I wasn't really planning to take a role on the executive. I had different plans, and things changed, and I got asked to help out again. So I did become the president of the club. And
let me just stop you for a sec. Sorry to interrupt you, Karen. Things more than a little changed. So Karen's club was at risk of kind of dissolving. They had some challenges with their leadership, and I want to speak to this because it's worth celebrating. So you could take a club that was having a hard time pulling things together to finishing President's Distinguished as a result of the team that came together and led by Karen. So congratulations to you, and sorry to interrupt you. Please continue.
Thank you. Yeah, so I guess I came into the role, I think it was end of August, beginning of September. But there was a couple of people on the executive who had been with the club for a little while. And so it was definitely a collaborative effort. The team was great and put a lot of effort into resurrecting the club. We did an open house. We celebrated a 15-year anniversary of the club. Again, inviting people to come and share. Food's a great attractor for some people. And then we had a club coach as well. Our membership dropped enough that we were eligible for a club coach. So Jim Carty came along to help us. And so I guess the spring, Stephanie mentioned the Area 4 director role would be available, and I thought I would try that out. So here I am. Now I have I've been a little bit delinquent. I haven't finished getting in touch with the other clubs, although I did sit in on the collab Toastmasters meeting last Thursday. So I've met a few of the folks from that club before, so there's some familiar faces there, but I definitely am going to have to get myself busy and contact the other clubs and get to know them a little bit. So from what I understand, the other three clubs are all lunch hour clubs, and whereas Barrhaven Toastmasters is an evening club, so we run an hour and a half format, so it'll be interesting to see the hour format, how other clubs handle that. Yeah, I guess that's probably about it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Karen. All right, who's next?
I think I can go right now.
Sure, Roy.
I'm Roy Vandermel. I am a Toastmaster since June 2011, and I'm a founding member of two clubs. Actually, more than two, but for the Area 3, I'm a founding member of Smith Falls Toastmasters and Carlton Place Toastmasters. I like Toastmasters because the reason of personal development is very important for me. I'm a retired entrepreneur, if you will. Although entrepreneurs never retire. Their brains are always going. And but I've had many different businesses before, and now in 2016, I decided to just take it easy. It's also because of health reasons that I had to take it easy. But I'm now actually rejoining Toastmasters this year, this year, 2019, 2019. I became a member of Carlton Place in January 2019, and decided, well, you know what, retired. I need a project. I have free time. I can do it, whenever and whatever I really want to do is, and that's basically supporting, different clubs. I've always liked to be on the executive. So since 2011, really, I have done all the roles of the executive. So sergeant at arms, secretary, vice VP of, well, anyway, all the 7 roles. And in 2014, I basically decided to step it up a little bit, became a Division A. In those days, they call it governor, but it's now director, so Division A, governor. And I learned a lot in terms of the division, in terms of the clubs, and the struggles. And I continue to see those particular struggles, especially in my area, in Area 3. In my opinion, I have 5 clubs, and based on the information that I see, is that there are 3 clubs are actually, they could be distinguished fairly easily. But, and I think that's one of my challenges, is that I think there's a bit of laziness and maybe not understanding, the value of Toastmasters, that Toastmasters actually can bring in terms of personal growth, career growth, etc., etc. So I hope to change that. So my vision for this particular year, and I put that down in my area success plan, is that I would like to see all 5 clubs distinguished. And clubs that are distinguished, Smith Falls, who is distinguished, but again, with only 1 extra goal, they could have been select distinguished. So perhaps because of COVID, I don't know, but certainly, that the extra motivation or inspiration, that's what I like to give the clubs so that they can actually become distinguished. And the Manatee Club, and this is truly a great story to start with, is that they were underperforming. In the beginning of the year, they had 7 members, and now the president distinguished as well. They have now 20 members. So there's a lot of richness there, and great to extrapolate information and how they're doing it, and so we can actually learn from that particular growth. I think that's all I at this point want to share, because I don't know where, because I can talk forever and it's kind of becoming boring.
In good Toastmasters form.
So I'll leave it up to the conversation where it goes. I've got great plans for my area, and Stephanie already said you need to share this, and we will definitely. I like to be a team player, and when it comes to information and data and ideas, well, Tarek, you're an entrepreneur as well, so the richness of sharing is fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to this role. There's one part that I always need to put in my head, though, is that because of the health issues that I had in the past, I need to always remind myself that tomorrow is another day.
Mm.
Well, you have a pharmacist on the team, so don't worry. We'll take care of that at least for this year. So yeah, we'll make sure that you're in good health so we can share all these ideas.
Yeah.
Capitalize on each other's strengths, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great. Thank you, Roy. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And there's always so much to do, but we have to give ourselves a bit of grace too, and not take everything so seriously sometimes. On one hand, it's you want to get it all done, but like, pace yourself. We have lives, we have families, we have other things going on. if, and this, you bring up a good point too, like illness is, you know, is one thing, but there are times in our lives that get busier where things get in the way and we're overwhelmed. And I hope that we can create a space that where we can work together and support each other in whatever comes up in this next year too, right? So
Well, I'm like a bulldog, right? I mean, you give me something, and I'm passionate about it. I'm holding on to it, and then I'm going to shake it, and I'm going to just play with, not even play with them, or running with it, and I'm playing with it, and you know, and then of course I expect others to follow me.
right.
That's basically how it is. So I need, and this is maybe something that the team can help me with, is to say, okay, whoa, you know, step back, step back. You know, you're too eager, or I'm an eager beaver, or whatever you want to call it. You know, slow down.
We've already touched on this a little bit even before this call, eh, Roy? Me and you.
I know, I know. So
Okay, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Well, and it's, you know, I as I said, I'm kind of happy to be involved and really get involved with the team, but also involved with the other clubs. Yeah. Anyway,
Awesome.
I'm taking too much time.
Thank you, Roy. Okay, last but definitely not least, Helen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Helen. I think, or I already know Karen because I visited her for Haven Toastmasters. Hi, Karen. And nice to meet you all. Oh, yes, I will become the Area 5 director this coming year. And to be honest, let's be honest, I wasn't expecting this to happen at all. So I also am the VPPR of Health Canada Toastmasters Club and SSA in Decisive Toastmaster Club. And I'm not sure if I still am, but I am club mentor for, what is it called? Quackmasters Toastmasters Club.
What's the first, sorry, Helen, what's the first club that you're VP of PR?
Oh, Health Canada Toastmasters Club in Division B. Right. Or in Division B, yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
So let me talk a bit about myself first, I guess. I am a programmer. I joined Toastmasters for 1.5 years now, maybe. I started kind of last March. And then I went to the conference where this all started happening, I guess, because in the conference, there was a lot of good things. Okay, I can talk about the conference later, so I'll stop. But that conference kind of inspired me to do more thing with Toastmasters. And that's why I started executive roles and everything. So, and that's kind of how I got here today. I have to be honest that I'm not sure how things will go because I'm also a student in psychology. And so there's actually a lot of stuff happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping I can also juggle all of this as well. This is why for my, what is it called? For my vision for all these clubs, I don't expect everybody to be distinguished this year. And this is not because I don't want to. It's also because of how these clubs are at the moment. I am part of Decisive and also the Quackmasters Toastmasters Club. Quackmasters is a completely new club, and Area 5 did last year, and almost everybody in the club is new. So they're not going to achieve high-level educational awards unless they're really boosting it to the max and doing speeches every week. But you know, it has more than 20 members, so that's not going to happen. And so for my vision for Quackmasters itself is for them to do more speeches, just have more educational. I'm part of the club, so I guess that's what I expect that to happen, and also try not dropping membership. Membership is also a challenge for my other club, Decisive. That club is great in everything, except I know it's having a little bit of challenging membership. So my hope for for Decisive this year is that it would grow in membership. As for Stittsville, they are doing really great. I visited them last week, and they have more than 30 members right now.
Wow.
And they gained about 10 members during COVID. So I'm hoping they can just keep that up, and I'm learning from them what they're doing, and there's some interesting thing I learned from just one meeting, so I'll probably keep on visiting them.
Dropping on them again.
Yes, eavesdropping. And last but not least, Connexus. This is the only club I haven't contacted yet. I sent them email, but there's no reply. So I'm yet to know what problems they will be facing, or what they're doing good or not good. And so I'm hoping to get in contact with them in the next while and join that. Maybe I can learn how I can help them. And basically my vision for Area 5 is to help all the clubs as the best I can and help them achieve what they want. I don't really have a clear goal, but I just want everyone to be better at everything or whatever they want to be better at. And also, if I can give a boost to anything else, it would be better, of course. So yeah, that would be kind of what I will be doing this year in Area 5.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yay. Couple things I want to speak to with what Helen shared. And this will come out in one of my ideas, but we're never in this alone. So if a club needs something, if they're not doing speeches, or if they're not getting engaged in pathways, or if they're lacking members, like whatever it is, we can pull resources together, so it doesn't have to be you doing everything. This is why we have a team. This is why we have the trio. And the trio has got some really big plans to provide support in all of the different areas that we've talked about today. So stay tuned. And also in terms of like timeline and how things roll out, Helen, let me know what I need to do to support you with everything that you have going on, because it really just comes down to how you're managing your time. And as I shared with you when we were having our first conversation, there are a couple times in the year where things are a little crazy, right? Contest season, when you have to submit those reports. And so we maybe one idea could be to, like, if you guys think this would be helpful, like mapping out the year and where your time commitments are. Maybe like I don't think it would take me very long to do that, because I've just been in the same role. So yeah, planning in advance for some of these busier times, and whatever support you need to help manage yourself or to help solve some challenges or whatever within the clubs, that's what we're all here for. And specifically me, if I don't know the answer, if I can't find the answer, or if I don't know the answer, I can find the answer, or I can find the right person to talk to. So don't be shy to use us or use me as a resource. Okay?
Steph?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was talking with the former, or with Mo Wozinak, who is the area director for this region. And, you know, he gave me great advice as well, because, and it makes sense what he's asking me to do, and that is to, when we're planning ahead, is to actually already start the process of looking for the right people to, you know, succession thing, in other words.
Yes.
So to look for another person already to replace me right now. The other thing is that when contests come, he says, you know, it's going to be a crazy time to get judges, first of all. So he said, you know, start planning your contest in November, December, and have it in January. Because then you can line up the people in December or ask them to commit for a contest in January. So I think that that's very good input from him. And I'm always a proponent for, you know, planning ahead anyway. So I'm just throwing that in for you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, Tara?
If I haven't, like for Helen, like the club that she said it's too new, I highly recommend to have a club coach. And there is a lot of people in the area that definitely can coach this club and help with all the activities and push them to do the educational. So this is one thing that might help with a club that has most of the members new. The other thing as well for area 2, it's not my area, but you know, it's geographically not so far. So Brockville is just not so far from Kingston, as you know, and I have connect like some people I know in Brockville and in Cornwall. So if I can be of any help to that area, let me know, Steph. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that because all the other clubs in area 2 are fairly close together. That's kind of the outlier. The challenge in area 2 is the responsiveness. So I have my own plan of how I'm going to try and basically my strategy with that, and maybe for any other clubs, like I know Canaxis, if there are any other clubs that aren't responsive, let me know, because my plan basically is to, like in every club, there's someone that is engaged, right? Yeah. There's someone that is well known, that has been around, that you can pull together. And so my plan for area 2, I'm just coordinating with Raji. This was my idea before I even found her, is to reach out to all of those people in area 2 and bring them together for a call and just say, okay, what do we need to do? What do you need? Like trying to, you know, kind of pull people together in a different way. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. Okay, we're a little bit over, but it's okay. And if we try and be as concise as we can, you know, I think maybe it makes sense to have another call in, you know, when the new year starts, sometime in July. And I would actually love to have these division calls once a month. So if you could type in the chat, rather than to save time everyone sharing, if there are, what's the best way to do this? What times do you have available? Like what are some good availabilities? And I'm gonna see if I can find a common one. Not by the end of this call, but just type in the chat days and evenings and what times work. Yeah, can I do a poll on here? Just type
you can do a poll.
Just type in the chat. Just let me know. I'm not even gonna focus on the poll. I don't even know how to do that right here. Do you do it on here? I think maybe I could learn something, but I don't want to take too much time learning something else. Doodle
next time
is another great tool. I just thought I would action this. Let's see if we can find when our next time is going to be on this call. Okay, so Roy, I see Tuesday. So Raji, I know cannot do Tuesdays because that's her club meeting. Actually, wait, her club meets bi-weekly. Never mind. So I could do a Tuesday, but let me know. Anyway, talk in the chat there. In terms of timing. And then the other thing, I'm not going to dig too much into the division success plan as an entirety. I'm just going to cover a few things for today. So we want to find out our best way to communicate. So I created a Slack channel. And the reason why I chose to do that is because we already have a leadership Slack channel anyways. So we're all engaged on Slack. I'm using it more and more, and now I'm in all these channels, so I pay attention on more of a regular basis than maybe I used to. And my idea behind using Slack is to try and take some of the emails away. So we can't get around, like there's some stuff we need to email. If there's like a big email that needs to get forwarded to the clubs, or we're coordinating something, great. We'll still have emails, but my premise, like if there's any events or anything coming up or anything like that, to populate it in Slack. So if you're ever wondering at any given time, where's this, or where's that poster, or where's that link, then you can find it in Slack. And then that way it will maybe reduce some of our emailing. I know for me personally, I'm a bit overwhelmed with email, with everything that's coming and going. And so if we can pull some out of email and manage it in Slack, if you guys have ideas of what to, like, I don't think we should have conversations in there necessarily, but if we're coordinating something or sharing information, then I think Slack will be effective. And if there's something specific for your clubs or specific to your area, you don't need to put it in there. You can send that to me privately. I am easily accessible by more so than email. You send me a text, or you get me on Facebook Messenger. You know, if you need to talk to me, you can, hey, can we chat? Can we set up a time? Or if there's something quick, I know even my communication with Kimberly is on Facebook Messenger. So, and I'm also interested to know what the best means to get reach you guys is. So if you could also put that in the chat, if it's text, if it's Facebook Messenger, I know Karen, we already talked through Facebook Messenger, or if it's email, I will be respectful of what is the best way for you in terms of connecting with you. Is everybody okay with that in terms of communication? Any other thoughts related to that topic?
One thing about Slack that people don't always do is that every time you can thread, like people don't tend to reply to the same comment. They'll just make a new one, and then it gets like, you know,
Okay.
really long. So you do have the ability, if you want to have a conversation about a particular subject, to respond to that first one, and then it becomes a thread, so that it's a bit more searchable, and you're not just saying okay, you know, yes, like short little snippets kind of at the top level.
Yes.
Just it's something I've heard about Slack anyway.
Okay.
What's the channel? What's the name of the channel now? Is it
Division
Division
A.
Division A.
Okay, all right.
So a couple of questions about that. There's also adding to what Karen said. There's also topics on the top, so we can actually inside the channel you can have different topics. So if you're talking about the contest, for example, we can have just a topic and then things about that,
Pathways,
or pathways or whatever. The other thing is, can we create like channels for the areas in Slack?
I would, you know, I went ahead and did that for us. You can go ahead and do that, or you can check in with your team first and see what is best for them. I wish I had done that last year as area director. Looking back, because it was a lot of emails and it's not my strength. So, and I learned that.
Yeah.
So,
no, there's a lot of like, you want to keep, one of the things we talked about even Steph before is making resources available for the clubs.
yes.
And if you have this kind of like Slack as a resource page, like with these topics, like if you want anything about pathways, it's here. If you want anything about this, it's there. And then all the events can be a topic, and we can just put the events under. It will be very resourceful for the clubs, so they don't need to check on the district website, which is great,
or something,
or dig in for an email, search the email and try to find it. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, you can have full reins over what you want to do with what works best for your team. My suggestion would be to have a conversation about it, just like, you know, we're having a conversation here.
Sure.
Yeah, but I love that because it's right. Like centralizing information, I think is a challenge across the district, and I've been, you know, fallen into that trap too, where it's like you're looking for something or you're searching, it's just not organized very well. And so if we can find ways to be more efficient, then it's great. Absolutely. So, okay, we have text and email. I'm just gonna read this. Text, I've got that. I've got do. Monday, Tuesday. Hang on, I'm just, as long as it's not Wednesday. Okay, are Tuesday evenings pretty okay for everybody? I think, Karen, I know you usually have something.
It was just hockey, but that's winter season and summer. Oops, sorry. I was talking before my mute was off. It's just hockey, but that was winter season and there's no hockey right now anyway. So Tuesdays are usually okay.
Okay. All right. And if hockey resumes, will it be on a Tuesday?
I'm not really sure because summer hockey is a different schedule, and I don't think we're going to get any summer hockey this summer. Okay. But September probably would be back to Tuesday nights again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. So my goal, I would love to find a time that we could commit to every month for the year. I realize it's hard to do. I know Kimberly did that with our senior leadership team, and then we also have a call with her on a monthly basis, like once a month on the third Tuesday of whatever, but maybe we can start with Tuesday for now, since it does work, as long as I pick a week that's not Raji's club, and then we can at least plan for the next couple and revisit it later. Yep.
The hockey schedule, like it's sometimes, you know, games at 6, 7, or sometimes as late as like 9 or 10. So it's all over the place. So if it was just a case of bumping it 1 week, you know, forward or backwards, it could still work.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you for being flexible.
Well,
I'm trying to be as efficient as I can.
Does it have to be a weekday, or can it be a weekend? Because it's only once a month, right?
Yeah. It's I mean, I'm open to either. When I have Levi, I protect my time with him on the weekends on top of other commitments, so I try not to add anything else on the weekend. But I can, yeah, it depends on what the group wants, right? So, yeah. So let me think about that now that I have your feedback there. What I wanna, okay. Would you guys find, okay, so we talked about Slack. We like the Slack, try and communicate in Slack as opposed to email if we can. Google Calendar, so if we ever have a meeting, I will send you a Google Calendar invite as well as an email or some other way of communicating it so you get it twice. I apologize for the delay on this communication for this one. It was a miss on my end. And then the other thing I had thought of was creating a Toastmasters Google Calendar. Like, I don't know, does anyone use Google Calendar?
I was just talking to the team at the club level, and we were planning to do that for the club on Google Calendar, because we have a Gmail for the club. So what we're doing right now is we have documents for the executive documents about each role, and now we moved it under that Google Drive for the club email, like the Gmail, and we're using the Google Calendar for district, area, and club. That's going to be the standard.
Yeah, so it's just, yeah, and I love that, right? It's anywhere that you can share the information. I guess it would work if we all are using it. If we're not all using it, then it's maybe not the most productive tool for us. But
the other thing, can I say something, Steph?
Yes, of course.
There is a lot of apps that you can add to. So for example, the Doodle and Zoom, like this meeting right now, you can add the Zoom app to the Slack channel. And also probably all the calendar and all that stuff can be added as an app to our channel. So you can use it to be seen as a calendar, for example, by everybody.
Okay, well, maybe I will get you to help me have an understanding.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. So Google Calendar, I can install it right away to the Slack channel while we're talking and see.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can keep talking and I'll try it and we'll see.
Sure,
okay?
Sure. Yeah, so the reason for my,
okay?
Yes.
Just let me know, because I'm the technical person here. I can click, and that's all I can do.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. We have to be mindful of everyone's boundaries, you know, with technology and making sure it's easy enough to do. My thinking was that for like organizing, like if there's events, or when I'm thinking of like, what does the timeline of the year look like? I could do it in Google Calendar, so it could be visual, or I could just do it on a document as well. So I'm kind of rolling ideas around, but either way, I think what would be useful for you guys as area directors coming in, especially since so many of you are new, is to, like, you look at the year, it's like, okay, what's my focus over the summer? What's the focus September to December? Like where are things due? Like what deliverables are due, and what's the primary objectives of that time frame? To have kind of a visual of the year. There is the district calendar, but maybe we would organize ourselves a little bit differently, or maybe there's some other things that we want to incorporate as well. So I'm just thinking ahead. And I just want to acknowledge all of you, like the role hasn't even started, right? Technically, we haven't even started in the roles. You guys are totally engaged and on this call and proactive, and I love it, and I appreciate that. So much. It's, you know, the more we can sort of organize ourselves and get ahead now and building those relationships, it will help us when the fall rolls around, because we've already done that legwork, right? So if I email you and there's if there is something that is a response required, I will always bold or highlight if I'm looking for specific response. So if there's something, information that I need from you, or like even I ask, like if you have any questions so that I can prepare my agenda, if there's anything I need a response, I will highlight it in a certain way. One of my, in terms of communication too, from the district down, one of my ideas is to compile all of the stuff happening in the district for me, send it to you guys bi-weekly so that you can send it to your clubs and your teams on a bi-weekly basis to try and minimize individual emails for every single thing. Because the members get emailed about initiatives rolling out, but the purpose of the division email would be to kind of summarize and capture all of them. And my hope is that I will have a plan in my own calendar that it will be very predictable, like, you know, the same day it comes out or whatever. We'll see if we get there, but on a bi-weekly basis, that's what I'm committing to right now. And so just based on my own experience last year, there was just a lot of stuff flying around, and I want to make sure I compile it in a different way. And okay, so I want to talk a little bit about some like kind of the major focuses, and I want to give you guys an idea to share, to weigh in and to share in maybe some ideas that you have either for your area or for the division. Like maybe an idea you have for the area, if we're meeting online, we could extend it and we could, you know, open it up or what have you. So the first, you know, situation that I want to address, and it kind of encompasses a few things. Number one, there's a few clubs that are non-responsive. I'm actioning that already. And if there are any other ones, let me know and let me see what I can do. We have 6 clubs in coach territory. So, and I know one of the challenging components of that is finding club coaches, because some of these coaches are rural. And so the challenge is finding someone that will commit for the year and travel to the club meetings all the time. On the other hand, we are largely meeting online. And so the first half of the year is largely going to be virtual. So it does make it a bit easier. But the club coaches, we know that that has brought success. You know, Barhaven Toastmasters got turned around, so did Manitic Toastmasters. We know it works. It's highly effective. So what I would ask of you, as you're doing your club visits and you're meeting and connecting with these Toastmasters, or maybe Toastmasters you already know, who do you know or who are you encountering that could be a candidate to be a club coach? We want to hear about them. We want to maybe empower them and have those conversations to get them excited to help them, help a club achieve success. So we are in demand for club coaches. So there's my shout out to all of you. There are some concerns surrounding renewals, right? COVID has impacted a lot of clubs, and I wager that, you know, a few of these non-responsive clubs are because they're not meeting anymore because of COVID, because they're, for whatever reason. But not only that, but then renewals is in September, right? So, you know, my other concern surrounding the membership side is, even though clubs are meeting, their membership may be low. Who are those members? Who are the members that aren't attending? And I just invite you to think about this, or like think about this as you're visiting the clubs. Who are the members that were there before that aren't there now? And are the clubs checking in with them? Are they making sure they're okay? What can we do to engage the members that are already there, keep them happy, keep them, you know, part of the community over the summertime, however that looks like, I'm not really sure, to strengthen those relationships and keep them around so we can count on their renewal in September. So keeping what we have, right, I think is first and foremost the first priority. It's like, how can we help some of these clubs that are struggling, and how do we retain the people that we have? You know, how can we be proactive about that now so that we don't have some surprises in September? We know that we'll lose, like, I think the number is about 30%. Like it's a revolving door, right? People leave for different reasons. That's why we are always focusing on bringing new people in the door. And I'm also interested in knowing what Stittsville Toastmasters did to generate 10 new members during COVID. Like, if you have stories in your areas where people are generating new members in the pandemic, in COVID, like that is worth asking questions about, because other clubs can likely learn from that as well, right? Keeping what we have. So one thought that I had, one thing, okay, so there's a couple things I want to do. Like I want to find, how can we do events? How can we have events or workshops and different things like that, where we can bring people together, not necessarily exclusive to your area, but the division and even the district if we want to. We have budgets for these kinds of things, and I'm all ears for any ideas that you have. And I know the trio is really receptive to doing things differently and to making this year really exciting and engaging for people. One thought that I had though over the summer, because you know, in light of things, it seems things seem to be opening up a little bit more, right? The summer may be even a bit more relaxed to have gatherings. One idea that popped in my mind is, and I know our club does this pretty regularly. We have socials, like we have a barbecue or a pizza night or like stuff like that. You can do that. You can encourage that in your clubs, but maybe you want to think about doing one for your area. One thought that I had was doing one for the division. Like there's this really great park in Thousand Islands that's kind of in between here and Kingston. We did a team building event for my business there, and it was a potluck. We all brought food and we just hung out for the day and just like had a blast hanging out, you know, in nature. So I think that's one idea that I had, because it's fun, because people are looking for fun activities that they can do. We have to respect social distancing, then there's obviously that challenge there. But that community and keeping people together and making people feel like they're a part of something, and the social element and the connection, I think is super important. And I think doing things like that will engage our members in a different way outside of the meetings, right? Which will help with retention in the fall. So that was one thought that I had, just thinking about how do we keep the people we have, renewals as a focus, and getting the club support that they need. Anyone have any ideas surrounding that conversation?
So if I can share our experience at Downtown Kingston Toastmasters, we have socials. We've been doing it for a year and a half, and it's Tuesday, like every month once, and we go to one of the restaurants. Now it's stopped because of COVID, but we have a couple of members who are engaged into that kind of, we are empowering them to keep doing it. So we ended up doing a very nice online, like a Zoom social for the club last month, or like almost a month and a half ago, and 25 members attended.
Wow.
And it was basically the VPPR, she was excited. She created the whole event, and she did almost like a table topic competition. Cool. So people sitting at their home at 7 p.m. like now, and just having a drink and then just joining, and she's running a competition and everybody's participating, and it was fun. Everybody loved it, and it was praised by almost everybody. And I would be a little bit surprised if people like that number, the whole division, for example, or even a whole area, gather outside in the coming 6 months. Being a pharmacist, I can tell you it's a little bit of an interesting kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But definitely, there is a lot of stuff online that we can do.
Yes.
I
guess it's wishful thinking. Like I miss humans, and so I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I just keep thinking that this will be the likely scenario, then that's the way it will work out. So that's
this week only I saw a couple of, one of them today was one of my Toastmaster buddies in the club. We went out for a coffee, but basically like we had social distance, and we didn't even shake hands. We were standing like in front of each other, 2 meters, and drinking the coffee but that was the first time I see him in like 4 months or 5 months, because we used to meet but if you do it for 25, 30, 50 people, that's going to be
it's a bit different.
More complicated.
Smaller groups, I think, is okay. Like I know even Raji's club, they're doing kind of an end of the year barbecue where they'll have appropriate space between. I mean, they're not a huge group either, so it falls probably within the realm of what's okay. But anyway, it was just a thought. But I love the idea of we can get creative with online events too. It's like, but then we just have to we just have to put them together in a way that people are excited to attend and that they're engaging so that people are having a good time, right? But it sounds
what
like
we can do
is
if we organize something inside like the downtown Kingston one, maybe we should share it with all the clubs in the area, for example, or the district, and see if people wants to come and join in, so we can have some kind of a leverage on that, and try it once and see how things would go.
Yeah.
Well, I think I agree, Tarek. I mean, it doesn't have to be just club focused. It could be, division focused or something like that, so that all the clubs of Division A can actually join, right? Because, I think that's a great idea. I don't think everybody will flush into Zoom and say, "Oh yeah, let's have a social."
You would be surprised, Roy. Like, people were really excited and they came in. And if you choose the right time, then people will show up. The time is very important. Like if it's a Friday night or a Saturday, maybe people will show up more than Tuesday, especially if now people getting back to work.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see. But what I can do is I can ask Kate, who did that one, if she's excited to do it again, and then we can see if we can promote it across the district. Sorry, the division. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just want to clarify: is this a online social or in-person social?
Online social.
Online.
Okay.
Yeah. My vision of like a big barbecue potluck is the likelihood of that is not great, but this place where we went is very beautiful. So if it happened to be that we could do it, the division is like, it's a big scale. I was just thinking of like what's somewhere in the middle and like how could it be conducive, but I think for now let's go with the online strategy for sure.
We can do it in spring, like before the end of the year or something, like next year, spring, early summer, and that'd be nice. But
I think that's a very good idea. The reason why, I think, because the clubs, at least that's the feeling that I have in my area, that the clubs, they feel that they are kind of, okay, this is the club. And outside their own environment, they don't even think about other clubs. So to create inclusiveness and to know that there are other clubs out there, and communicate with each other and having fun with each other, I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, so we'll take some steps to work towards those kinds of things in that plan. I would love to know, Kate, I think you mentioned Tarek, how
Kate is our VP PR for the past 2 years, and she's staying still this year as well. So she's great. She's this is a typical example of how Toastmaster can improve people. Like when she joined, she was so shy she couldn't even stand 10 seconds on a table topic on the stage. And I don't know about your clubs, guys, but our club in downtown Kingston, if when we open, you should come and visit. We have a stage. We don't have a regular kind of a meeting room, so it's basically as if you are in a theater, like kind of what do you call it, a stand-up comedy kind of a group. So sometimes
I will come to Kingston. I love it.
Sure.
So it's still in the back of the cafe?
Yes, it is in the cafe church. Yeah, still in there. Yeah. It's very, very nice.
Any other thoughts in terms of retaining member engagement, current member engagement, especially the summer comes around, people kind of check out a little bit more. Any ideas of how we can keep people around and engaged, in preparation for renewals?
Actually, I have a question about people checking out in the summer.
Yep.
Usually people check out in the summer because they have vacations. Right now it's COVID. Nobody's going on any vacations. Are they going to check out for the summer?
Staycation.
I totally agree. It's a good idea. Good point.
True.
So I'll tell you one idea. Well, again, back to maybe it will help. Back to mentors. Okay. So I'm handing the VP mentorship to one of our veterans, Jeremy, in the club. And what we're deciding to do, there is a very nice kind of a mentor survey, they call it interest survey for mentors or being mentored. So it's a very good point. The start of the year, first week of July, the new team executive, they hand up this. People will tell you what they need. And then the mentors are very good kind of tool, if you have good mentors in the club, to use them to engage and motivate their mentees to keep doing activities. And this is one of the tools we're going to use this year, is putting the mentors on to focus on the mentees and keep kind of moving across the pathways for all the members. So I think a mentee is good. Open houses might be a good idea. We did a couple of very, very successful, somebody was talking about open house. I think Karen, we did a couple of them. One of them we had the mayor come to the club. The other one we had the MP candidate who became he was the incumbent MP, and he still got re-elected. That before the elections in last October. So having such open houses, and now it's easy to get anybody from like whatever in the city or the area that you are in, to get some kind of a key figure or somebody who do some sort of a speech training kind of thing. And we have some people around that you can pull and use. I think those are very engaging.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Open houses have always worked very well in my club. And I think from a PR side, we always found ways to market them a little bit differently. So even though sometimes if we didn't have a guest speaker, and by the way, I can be a guest speaker anywhere. Like, you tell me where you need me, as long as it's, I have notice, I am happy to do what I can. And I think clubs benefit from having different voices, even if it's not an open house, but even just to add a new flavor.
Yeah.
I've always gotten really good feedback whenever I've done speeches or whenever I visited other people or clubs that have had other speakers come in. But yeah, with open houses, like, you can have your speech, it doesn't have to be a different speaker, but a topic that can be really interesting for the general public. Like, interesting and relevant, that you can have a poster and it draws people in a different way. You can do online open houses too. Like, I think the timing, any time is good, because you're driving new guests to your club. But good timing, in my experience, has always been kind of beginning of September, when everyone comes back from their vacation and they're ready and excited about new opportunities. So if we're talking about timing, that would be a good suggestion there. But
you should have seen the mayor's face when we didn't, like, it was a little bit, we were a little bit, we didn't want to put him in too much pressure and have evaluator for his speech, right? So we asked the general evaluator to evaluate we had two speakers at that day, the mayor and another person. So the general evaluator came and actually said, because we don't have an evaluator, but I'm the general evaluator, I'm going to talk about what I liked and what you can do. And the mayor was so impressed, actually, that he was evaluated in a nice way. Like, we didn't just really.
Yeah, it was a good reinforcement.
Yeah, so this was.
Okay, so we've got some good ideas. So the open house, I think an open house timing beginning of September at least gives a month to hopefully convert some of those guests into members before the September 30th renewal. Maybe some online socials, like online social over the summertime. There's also that meetup initiative that is rolling out. So I think the deadline is the 13th for clubs that are interested in participating. I'm a part of that committee. So once we have that deadline, then we pair clubs out and you'll get more information from there.
How much is it, Steph? I didn't have a chance to look.
It's free for 6 months. It's subsidized by the district for 6 months. Yeah. And then after that, if the clubs want to continue on after, then you can still keep the account and split it between the clubs, or on the cost, or it's just stop. Yeah.
Our PR, like our VP PR, was involved, so I might maybe we reach to her and see if she wants to go on, and I'll let you know.
Reach out to her. And also, I thought Luke would be a great project for Luke to help manage, because it is related to membership building activities, and I know he was pretty excited about the meetup initiative too. So maybe that's a great first way we can get him involved to helping us get that rolling.
Yeah.
So we've got some good ideas with that. I'm just looking at the time. The other component in terms of like a target and a focus is the you know, well, thinking about our target of, you know, getting our club, helping our clubs be distinguished if that's what they're interested in achieving, and the education side, right? So I know Roy had some really good ideas surrounding, like, there's workshops, like, from the education perspective. I think the social element is really important, but then also it's like, what do our clubs need? Are there still clubs that are resisting pathways? How many clubs, like, aren't really engaged or aren't, and why aren't they engaged? Is it technology, or is it the same people doing speeches? Like, there's always questions to ask, and there's always nuances between the clubs. But I think helpful for anybody, like, you know, for whoever comes, you know, an online pathways workshop to show people, you know, how to navigate pathways for those that either are brand new, or maybe for those that are on the legacy program and need to be transitioned over. I don't know exactly what that would look like. It was just a thought. And we could do that for the division, because online, we can do a lot with Zoom, like the breakout rooms. You've seen what they do at TLIs and the contests. Like, we can be creative and create opportunities with technology if it's set up properly. And we can also involve other people to help with some of these workshops too. So it doesn't have to be just us. I do know Lisa had an event she was coordinating. There was supposed to be an educational event of sorts in Kingston. I think it was supposed to be in April. And I would be behind doing something specifically for that area, because I feel like Kingston maybe gets left out of some of the festivities that we have going on here, like in Ottawa, because they're kind of by itself out there. But that was just on my list, just as something that didn't get taken care of last year.
I think it was the accelerator, and it was supposed to be physical, but
it was something different. I'm not sure. It was some kind of panel. I'll have to get the details from Lisa.
Yeah, I think it was, what I know about it was the accelerator, and it went on, but it was online. I have an idea or a question. Like,
sure.
Accelerator is a great thing. I see people are stuck more in level 2, not level 1. Because people join the club and they are excited. They do the icebreaker. They can push a little bit with if they have a good mentor, they can finish level 1. But then I see most of the new people now that have been more than between 6 months and a year, they don't move level 2 faster enough. So if there is an accelerator for level 2, instead of just, because the ones we have right now are basically, it has to be an icebreaker and the second, which is the feedback and giving feedback, okay? But if we do something either open, so in any level, you can do just 2 or 3 speeches, or focus on level 2, because that's where I see so many people stuck.
I'll table that one with Kimberly directly, because the Pathways Accelerator was her initiative. So, yeah. So I made a note to talk about that with her directly for that, and I lost my place. Does anyone else have any other thoughts surrounding education or workshops?
Well, I have more of a question. I mean, okay, the district has an educational team, correct?
Say that again.
The district, they have an educational team.
An educational theme? Well, there's usually a theme surrounding the conference. I don't know what
Scott, when I attended the meeting with Scott Minnis, he mentioned that he was part of an educational team. The district has an educational team that actually provides support, of course, educational programs. And I just wanted to know more about
the educational team.
Educational programs that is available. I know Pathways has a series of very short and informative series of videos, and that's really helpful too. But I wonder, how other programs could be part of the education for specific clubs that is required. Like some of the clubs, well, Manatik is one of my clubs. They are doing very well. I mean, I looked at their stats, and level 1, level 2, level 3, they are doing the program. Now they also have a coach, and that's why they jumped from 7 to 20, within a year. But it's also because identifying what the member really wants out of pathways and facilitate them, you know, their particular path.
Yes. And and it comes, I guess that comes to the mentorship piece. And not all clubs have a mentorship program. So we have to maybe identify the clubs that don't, that maybe need some mentoring resources.
Right. So that's why I thought.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, if our members aren't getting, if they're not getting, like, what is it that they came to Toastmasters for? And are they getting it? Right? Having a pulse on that. You know, clubs that I've seen in, you know, in my area, there's a couple clubs where it's like, it's the same people doing speeches all the time. And it's like, okay, well, what's happening? Like, why are your members joining? Like, why do they join Toastmasters in the first place? Has anyone ever asked them if they're getting what they valued out of the program? So I think checking back in, and no surprise where there's maybe a gap is where they don't have a mentoring program, or they have people asking those questions. And so then it's like, okay, well, how else can we support these clubs that maybe they're a new club, or maybe they're rebuilding. So they're pretty much a new club where they have all, you know, they have some existing members that are gone and they're kind of starting fresh. They may not have the leadership to support them with the mentor program, but maybe there's other things that we can do, right, to support them. So Helen or Karen, did you want to weigh in on anything related to education? Any ideas that you have in that topic?
I actually had a similar question. I'm not sure if Roy was trying to ask this, but is there a team of speakers that we have on the district for education?
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
There is a speaker list. I don't know how current it is. Like, that was something that Tanya had rolled out this year, actually. You know,
we asked about it, and it's been developed in the last few months, because that was one of the questions. I remember Dina, the current Area 1 director, that is leaving, and I attended a couple of meetings, and also in our club, they asked about the list of speakers, and I think it's something, Steph, that is really important, because. Yes.
So maybe if the district one isn't current, then maybe that can be an initiative we take as a division. Like looking within our clubs, we all have fantastic Toastmasters in our clubs that have probably done all kinds of educationals. For example, Evaluate to Motivate. It'll be my third time. I'm doing it at Barhaven Toastmasters tomorrow. It's like I have a couple in my back pocket that I could do anytime because I've done them a few times. So why don't we take that a step further for our division? Because some areas may want to, especially if they're meeting in person, may want someone who's closer or whatever, you know, to cover off some of these bases from the educational side. Just a thought.
I have few that I know that I can create a list for my area, but also the topics are important. Like if you give us the list of topics that can be educational. I know that some of my experienced Toastmasters in my club and other clubs in Kingston, they did a lot of educational, but also if they haven't done one in a specific area, with their expertise, they can easily do one, provided we have the slides or the material for them to present.
Yeah, so. I love that.
Actually, I also have a question about that.
Please do.
If we have a list of educations, then like, are we going to present the presidents of all the clubs we have with the list, and then they can pick what they want from the list? Something like that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we had, there is a list of educationals set out by Toastmasters International. I'll put that in Slack so everyone has it as a reference. I think from there, then we need to see who do we have who we already know who can deliver on those topics, or maybe as a team, it's like we all take one on to put together for our own club that we could then, you know, do for other clubs, just as a thought. So I think the first step is like, what's the list? And then who do we have who already can do those and work from there?
Steve, I can tell you a nice experiment we did in our club. It's basically we took every month on the year and started to take a theme. So we had a mentoring month. So I was the VP mentorship. So I came couple of times and I did a presentation about mentoring, the power of mentoring, why do we need to be mentored. Then the next month was the Pathways month. So the VP Ed came and started talking about this and this and this and that. So these themes months are also a good idea. So it will intensify the knowledge about particular educational during that month.
Love it. Love it.
We focus on the clubs, and that's a good. That's of course the end result. But in my success plan, I like to focus on actually giving educationals and training to the executives first, who can then bring it to to the club. So I am trying to roll out, and I budgeted for it, is actually the success leadership series, and actually provide them on a fairly consistent basis, the principles of that particular educational. So that's why I'm asking about the educational team, because you mentioned something about the speakers list, and that's fine, but do we have a team?
A theme for the district, you mean?
A team from the district, or a team that actually are already knowledgeable about these particular programs that they can actually deliver, to the area. Not just one club, but to the area. And or in our case, division. That's basically it. So that we can invite the executives to that particular training and say, well, this will help your leadership skills increase, grow, develop, that type of thing. And then if you like it, bring it to your club.
The other thing to build up on this, Roy, as well, you can also, I don't know if the division can sponsor somehow a speaker, a Toastmaster speaker. Like we had, I don't know if you know Carl, I forgot his last name, but he's a professional speaker. He's a Toastmaster and a professional speaker. I have him somewhere.
Yes. I've been to one of his events.
Yeah,
actually.
he does he always do a very good presentation about how to use the mic.
Can you find out what his rates are?
Yeah, I will, because that was a very nice. He came I did a very nice presentation to the whole club about how to use the mics, what a different type of mics you have, the one you put it in the back and the one in front of you, and techniques on how to get close or get far, how you adjust, what to do before, if you're going to do a presentation anywhere, what to do before. It was a fantastic presentation. So that type of kind of niche or specialty kind of topics can be also a very good motivator, actually, even to the club members to yeah, we're learning something new here in this club. Let's keep going and coming and grow.
Yes, 100%. So the one thing with that, and this kind of segues, I know we're 8, just mindful of the time. We may go a little bit over. I'm trying to be concise. We've covered a lot today, and I think we have a lot of really good ideas, and we've got some good things coming out of here. The budget piece is, so from a division standpoint, I have to have my budget submitted to the trio by Thursday. And so with that, and I realize there may be some things that you don't know, or you hadn't really thought of it before, but something like that, like a speaker fee, that's why I'm curious, even ballpark, like let's say, even if you find out like general, what's his rate for an hour or a keynote or whatever. And maybe we could convince, maybe he would do it at a discount because he loves Toastmasters or whoever.
Yeah.
Maybe for one, we have a one event where we have like a speaker, like that could be something that I could factor in the division budget. Maybe not for the area budgets, but maybe at the division budget level. But those kinds of things where there's extra costs incurred, even if you're not certain if it will 100% happen or if there's variables, I need to have some figures to be able to submit in the budget. So,
how much did they allocate for each division?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay. So the sky is the limit?
No.
I don't think. No, I
honestly, Roy, I haven't asked that question. I can ask, and I can probably get a pretty quick answer to have a ballpark range. I know it's not outrageous, but I'm curious to know for myself and what categories things fall into, because I know they can't, Like they only have only so much percentage of their budget
Well,
allowable for
the
marketing.
the categories are outlined in, in the protocol 8.4 anyway. So that to me is fairly straightforward. How you break down though the budget line items on those particular categories are important. If you look at my budget, I know it's, I didn't hold anything back, but and now you come back, okay, only $20 for travel. I don't think that is realistic. But anyway, I, one of my pet peeves, and I mentioned it to you before, is that okay, we're here coming up with these great ideas, but we are living in a society and in a time where economics is number one. So therefore, budgets are important. I wish that they actually address this in our training as ADs or even division directors. That you know what, this is what we have, and this is how much we can spend,
Mm-hmm.
and these are the budget line items. It only takes 30 minutes to explain the budget and how it actually how the money, is being received from Toastmasters International, and also how the money is going to be dispersed. It's a fairly simple, add, add and pluses, and that's basically it. Then at least we have an idea in terms of, or at least I have a particular idea to say, okay, you know what? We can spend some money on this. I can go back to the clubs and say, obviously you need to have a marketing budget. You need to have an operational budget based on the monies that you receive and or retain. And then if you need additional support, this is my budget that I can provide you with. I think, from a business perspective, that is basically, and it's a nonprofit organization, I know, but it's still a business principle that I think we need to be trained in, and to actually uh, be aware of.
Yes.
That ideas cost money. And if you want to make money, or if you want to get more people in, you need to do marketing. And so therefore, there is money to be spent. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I guess you're absolutely right. Ideas cost money. If for the time being, if we're factoring that most likely will be online, that also cuts costs quite a bit because we're not having facilities and food and all these other things, right? But I agree with you on the principle that it's a conversation that I was given, like, okay, here's the ideas for a budget, it's due this day. There wasn't really kind of more of a discussion around it. And so I'll make sure that I pass that feedback along.
Please do. I think Kimberly would appreciate and understand, especially with her background, as a director of finance and as a CPA and all that stuff. So I think she would appreciate that. We do division director. When I was a division director, that was my pet peeve. I said, okay, how much money can I spend? None. Well, wait a minute. Oh, put it on an expense account. You travel. Well, that's fine, but if we want to start growing, really literally growing, well, and you're in online marketing, you need to spend money. You have ad spend and all that stuff that needs to be out there.
Yep.
So it's not that I'm complaining. I will roll with the reins that I have, but I would like to see a little bit of reciprocal effort to say, okay, well, you know what? If you need brochures, if you need flyers, okay, I can give you 100. Okay, great, no problem. If you need a kit, I can give it to you. Great. And that's why I put forward that particular budget. The other thing is that, anyway, we'll leave it at that. Oh, no, actually, one other thing.
Yeah, Roy, we can chat. Well, unless it's relevant for, I know it is an important discussion and it's relevant for everybody.
I think this point is relevant for everybody. And that is, if we want to do Zoom meetings with our council, well, I personally, I'm on a fixed income. Not that it's not that that's the point. But if we do Zoom meetings, do we really have to pinch, the money in terms of, okay, well, let's have a council meeting for 35 minutes and then have a break and then come back for 35 minutes and then, okay, well, everything is fine. I think the continuity of a meeting is what we have here right now. We set aside 90 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, 120 minutes, and then at least there is some continuity in conversations. So I think you mentioned that you're going to put some money on your budget for, availability for Zoom. And then the question is, do we as area directors have access to that particular Zoom account?
Yeah, so one of the things I am putting in the budget for the division is a division Zoom account. So all of you will have access to use for anything that you want it for, as long as we can, you're not overlapping with each other, obviously, right? I don't think that it's necessary at the area level, like just unless you can justify how much you're using it. I think a division account is sufficient. If you have any other thoughts to that, let me know. But I also have a paid account, so anyone's welcome to use mine. But I wanted to let you know I am submitting in the division budget a Zoom account for Division A.
Let me just add to this though. I think I'm the troublemaker here, but it's okay.
It's okay. I want to be mindful of the time because we're at 8:30.
Well, yes, I know, but you know what? Kimberly advises us, or she would like to see area directors to have at least 4 meetings. I did put it in my success plan. I think that makes sense. A quarterly area council meeting. But in our training, it was also told that it would be great for the area director to actually have monthly meetings with the club presidents. Well,
I think that's a little
that
excessive.
that's 12 months in a row, 12 months in a year, in addition to four times in a year for council meetings, plus. So what I'm saying is that the yearly amount for Zoom per area, well, if it's per division, then we can basically negotiate time frames and all that stuff. That's fine, but we need to come up with an answer for that.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I think it makes good sense for us to connect on a monthly basis. I think between your club visits and checking in with doing a couple council meetings, like in my experience, it's more than enough. If a club is struggling and having challenges, then you maybe spend a bit more time with them. But I don't think it's necessary to meet with your club presidents every month. That's my opinion based on my experience. I think, Karen, we had 3 or 4 maybe council meetings all year, and it was at important times, like, okay, here's contest season. This is like what we need to do. This is what we need to focus on. Like there were surrounding timely sort of scenarios where it was needed, right?
Yeah. We would touch base sort of informally, little quick questions and things more frequently, but yeah, formal meetings.
Formal meetings, yeah.
No, we don't have to do it with Zoom. We can do it over the phone or internet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's you bring up some great points, Roy, and I'll make sure that I address them. Like, I guess it's up to you how you want to have that communication and how frequently you want to meet with your clubs. People have a lot going on, and for those that are working from home, spend a lot of time in front of a computer. So I'm mindful of being as intentional as we can with people's time, and as productive as it can be. So maybe on a monthly basis with the club presidents is a little much, especially if we're planning some other events where we're bringing people together. Like, you're gonna have that sense of community and connection in informal conversations too. So it's up to you, but yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think being readily available is a good point. like just if they want you, they can reach, they can find you. That's the most important thing. Then I think, yeah, 4 times is maximum.
Oh, but then we, Eric,
Especially if
then,
the clubs are good, like they don't need any.
yeah, Eric, then we have clubs who will say, fine, and you will never hear from them. Those are the non-responsive clubs.
There's some that are like, no, you know, we're
Yeah,
good.
there you
Don't
go.
need anything. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Then others need a little bit more help. So it depends on the clubs. Okay.
Yeah.
8:35. Any final thoughts? I know we covered a lot of ground today. Some really good ideas. I'm probably going to go back and listen to this recording again and make sure I have the things I need to action out of this. Any other final thoughts? Karen, Helen, I haven't heard too much from you ladies. If there is anything else you want to add before we close the call?
I don't have a whole lot to add. I guess, you know, like I kind of know what I have to do next, and I'm just haven't quite got there yet, but there's still time. There's still a couple weeks before July 1st, and I will get around to talking to those other clubs, and look forward to seeing you guys all again next month when we touch base.
Helen?
Yeah, I will. I'm also trying to see what's coming up right now because I'm still trying to contact one of the clubs, and I'm pending all the other clubs. So we'll see what to report next time.
Absolutely. And I can see if I can find out anyone that would be a good lead in for Canaxis. I can, you know, I'm happy to see what I can help with that specific club for you if we're, you know, because we send an email, maybe we need to send another email, maybe we need to reach out to somebody different, you know, who knows, right? So, okay. So anything else before any other questions or what's next or any final thoughts?
I just have a question. Do we need to do any budgeting for the area? You're doing the budget for the division. Do we need to do any budgeting for the area?
Yes. So thank you. So we started talking about the budget and then just went down a different way. So the division budget encompasses the area budgets.
Okay.
Yes. So again, if there's some things you aren't sure of, you know, include them or like put some commentary and we can see what we can work through together. In the meantime, I'm going to find out how much I have to work with because Roy brings up a very good point. Because if we're like having all these ideas and putting this together and then it's like, sorry, well, then what's the point of spending the time coming up with these ideas? So if you have any thoughts, like meetup, you know, doesn't cost anything. If you're like, I don't know, like, what would be incurred costs? I guess could be online marketing. Like if you're promoting an event, a PR event or an open house and you want to do some Facebook ads, if you have small clubs in smaller communities that maybe they're in newspapers or community pages or other places where you can advertise. Roy had some submissions for workbooks for Speechcraft and this leadership workshop and printed material. I think also, and then mileage, I guess, is one other one. And let me see if I can find the appropriate resource in terms of what's permitted for you guys. But keep in mind as well, strong likelihood until December, we will still be meeting online. So it does, you know, shave things off. And that's where I can justify a Zoom account because we're not spending on travel and you know, in terms of the district budget, there's a lot of things where we're saving. So, and I also know that so I'll find the number, but I also know that our district, the district is in a surplus, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I think after a period of time in being in a surplus, then Toastmasters International can grab money back. And so I do know that the trio is eager to spend what they can. Yeah. So I just don't know what amount that is.
Yeah, the other thing, Steve, I want to say that I forgot to say at the beginning is I booked July 9, which is our regular club meeting for doing the moment of truth for the club. And I think it's a good point to start the club succession and push. So I'm going to try to push the different other clubs to do something similar for the new executive
Yeah.
and see how can we.
Yeah, I know. Even talking to Raji, I know they're planning their end of the year meeting, barbecue, social distancing meeting, kind of more casual. But she's actually going to do the moments of truth there because they can break into small little groups, and it's a really great way to kick off the year, kind of doing an analysis of where the club's at.
We have a questionnaire. We send it to the people early on, and then the meeting will be actually sharing the results. So that the whole moment of truth kind of points, we have it on if anybody wants it, it's a Google form. I think I can share it.
Or can you put it in Slack?
Sure, I will. It's actually done by my previous but I told them I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. If we have something that is working, we use it right away.
Please ask your club permission too, like if
I will.
they're okay with sharing these files.
I will. I'll ask Ben. He's the current president, so I twist his arm.
Okay.
It's a free download on the website. The moment of truth.
Yeah, I think what he's talking about is just it's maybe an easier format to send out to the members to get the members to fill it in.
Okay.
So the member fill it in automatically, electronically, and it comes to you right away. We don't need nobody need to fill it by hand.
Yeah, it's just a an upgraded version. Right?
Yeah, it's the same form that you get it as a PDF file you print it, but it's done as a Google template, so people will just fill it online right away.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. Any other final thoughts? You guys good? Did you get some value today? Lots of good ideas being thrown around, and this is going to be great. It's going to be a great year. I'm super excited to work with all of you. I think we all have different things to bring to the table, and I love the flavor of new people stepping into this role, eager for the challenge and eager to sort of, invigorate our clubs and our members in a different way. And I'm excited for this personal challenge of my own. One final thing I wanted to bring up was I know it was brought up at the training, the HPL project. If any of you are like level 4 or will be approaching level 5 this year, the High Performance Leadership Project is an elective for every path. And so it's a really great opportunity to, if you want to do that project, use your experience as area director to count towards that project. I know I'm going to be doing it for division director. Like that's my plan. I'm on level 5. Why not look for ways that you can count the things that you're doing here in this role towards your Toastmasters curriculum? So if you have other ideas or ways you want to do that, then we can talk about that. But the HPL is just one idea, and I haven't really looked at it, to be honest, but it's on my list. So if you have questions, then you can ask me about it later. All right.
Okay.
Good so far. So I'll find out which Tuesday Raji's available, and then we'll just set the next division call for July, so we can regroup then. And in the meantime, I'm accessible. Don't be shy. I'm here to support you. Anything that you need, I'm here. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you. So thank you.
Bye.
Likewise. Thank you.